Okay, this is our first meeting of 2026. It's Tuesday, January the 27th. Economic Development. So with that, do the roll call, Jake.
Ryland,
Here.
Daniel, here, Kathy,
Here.
Jan, here. Carl and Jamie are as of now absent. Okay. And no Jason Baker.
So we have a quorum.
Jason's still working here though, isn't he?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to keep a beat on that. That's good. He's probably been here over a year now.
Some ESST business, I guess. So, all right, so we have a agenda. Does it look okay? Add corrections, anything?
That looks good for me. Thank you.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Good. Seeing no changes, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
November 24th minutes, page and a half,
Make a motion to approve. Second.
and no other comments, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved. Okay, old business.
Yeah, we're getting down there now with the brand. So I'll just read here. The Orinoco branding project is getting here its final product. Tulip Tree issued the final brands below for a final vote. You'll see in your packet, they're listed on the next page. Website in the city, there was voting with paper available at City Hall. Flyers were hung throughout the city. And you can see a copy of the flyer is, well, I showed it to you in the last meeting. Created electronically, such as social media, so it was on Facebook pages and so on. And they came to a final vote. As you can see on the next page, the final vote was option one, basically 80% to 20%. Color is highly subjective. The logos are shown in black and white so the community can focus on the design itself. Color will be added once the final logo is selected. That will be rolled out in the next couple months, from what I've heard from Tulip Tree. As Ryland knows, Tulip Tree's had some turnover in their office as far as workers have left, come in, so it'll get done. The EDA steering committee are working through the next steps to finalize the logo. Stay tuned for the official rollout. With the rollout of the brand, it'll also have the statement rooted in community, growing toward tomorrow.
The tagline.
The tagline, yeah. And so that's just information on what's up with the brand at this point.
So did Whitney share a timeline? With getting back to
In a
it,
couple months.
couple months.
Yeah, I wasn't specific on it.
You may have said that. I may have just missed.
No, it wasn't specific.
I feel like our tagline meets option two a little bit better than option one.
It's true.
I mean, maybe it should be flowing for tomorrow.
It's
I don't know.
rooted with in the water.
Yeah, that's
Root.
really, as you look at them, yeah. I'm not on the committee though.
Yeah, not either.
Within the waters for growing, so.
Yeah, we don't want,
Kind of provides-
we don't want the water to grow though, so we get a flooded park.
That is
Is that
that.
gonna be? Was the plan to have several taglines, or that's their recommendation, or what's?
That's recommendation. We
I think they're saying.
brought that up in one of the first meetings we had, virtual meeting we had, rooted in community, growing toward tomorrow. So
I got people on both sides of me, really, I don't think they like it. And
the tagline,
yeah. But I'm not on the committee, so
right? So we'll
it's a long tag,
see what they say.
isn't it?
Yeah, also
With the
it will
tree.
be outdated and
They can easily take it out. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. So if it comes
Yeah.
out-
be outdated after we hit capacity, right?
No
'Cause we're not
doubt.
growing anymore, but
Yeah.
I like the
Probably not
growing.
be in my lifetime, but you never know.
I like the growing part,
Yeah, that's fine. And well,
because they're so. if they're going back and forth, the rooted, I agree, it just make it like if the tree won, but
Yeah,
the roots didn't. Maybe there's a better word for rooted.
Yeah.
Both of them go over the tree.
with that,
Both of them go over the tree.
Yeah,
Growing
yeah,
and rooted.
yeah, that was.
I mean, it doesn't say anything
Yeah,
about
It doesn't say anything about flowing and,
going towards tomorrow. That's a tree and rooted in the community is a tree.
Yeah.
And the tree didn't win.
Well, that's not. The tagline is gonna be separate from the logo, correct? So. That might
Yeah, I don't
still
think
have
it'll
the
be-
workshop.
Yeah. So a tagline can be a part of the community, but it's not part of the logo.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so. But I'll bring that to Whitney's.
I imagine somebody can come up with some synonyms to make it work.
Right.
Sound a little less of a tree. It's more of a bridge and water. I don't know. The message is good, ultimately.
but it is long when it's on the city truck, you know, that's what I think of. But maybe that's not where it's going on the city truck. I just assumed that anything with the logo.
Right, and the, the official documents that come out of the city will obviously have the logo, and maybe it'll have it underneath in small writing about the community growing in tomorrow. That's something we can definitely decide when they roll that baby out.
Yeah, what the use cases of it are.
If we could come up with something bridged,
Yeah,
Kind of like bridging the future.
there you go.
something to emphasize that if we want to try and do that, have a bridge worked in 3 words.
Right.
Bridging the future. Short, concise, nice.
And we gotta make it like, whatever we use, if that's chosen, but whatever, how bridge is used, we wanna make sure it doesn't come across as being, we're broken, and now we got a bridge to break us, to pull us together
You
between,
can use bridging.
whether it's east and
you could
west or
use
north and south. I just-
Crossing. Building even, I would imagine that you could connecting, like, there's a lot of words that you could probably throw in there that.
Rhoda uses bridge. And bridging towards the future, something like that, because of their covered bridge there.
That's good to know.
How about, damn it all?
Well, let's share that,
It's gone.
share that with Whitney,
Where went the lake?
about something with bridging,
The
something,
oceanfront property.
just to tie it to a logo.
Yeah. I will share that with her.
That's agreeable with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Move on. 5B, this is just review for you. Meeting times have changed a little bit. We'll still meet the same 4th Tuesday of each month, but the meeting time has been changed to 5:30 from 6:30, as we all agreed to on the
Yep.
email that was sent out. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But that will be, and every email I send out, I'll try to emphasize it's 5:30 because I know you'll maybe think 6:30 in your head because it's been like that
Yeah.
for a lot of years.
6:30.
Yeah,
So
so
that's great.
we'll stick with that. And if there's any questions on that, let me know. New business. Moving on to 6A. So the bylaws of the EDA are pretty thorough, except they don't have listed in the bylaws the length of the terms. So when the original group took over, I've listed here underneath 6A.
Here's a copy of it, if you don't have a copy of the bylaws.
So the bylaws underneath section 2.1, it does not list, it lists terms, but does not list the length of the term. So when the EDA was started, the initial members, so the first EDA members, which we don't have to worry about now, shall be appointed for terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years respectively, so that they're not, so when their terms are up, not everybody is up at one time. So we'll put that in there, and 2 members for 6 years, Thereafter, all commissioners shall be appointed for 6-year terms. So this will just be information put into the bylaws for the future for people who are, when their term is up. Like, for example, Adam, his term is up this year and he's chosen to not seek another term.
Is that why you had the thing on?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I posted it today on Facebook.
I saw that.
The opportunity.
Okay.
So we have one seat open again.
So we're doing that, having to go through the same process on our age friendly or local,
Okay.
with the bylaws and the terms and everything. And, we had a attorney in Winona, that Marcia Krieger, shared with us. And so we used her for pro bono to put our bylaws together. So I sent her an email. We had the same question. It says, okay, here's the bylaws don't mention the terms. We mention the officer, no names, no terms, except a 3-year term or 6-year term. And what she suggested was, don't change your bylaws, but put, like in our meeting minutes for this month, just put in
Okay.
new members or the members and the current status and the current terms, kind of like what we're talking about here going forward. At least it's documented in our meeting minutes and it's not changing bylaws.
Okay, so just the fact that we spoke about it, keep it in the minutes.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that'd be a lot easier.
I just kind of, I got a response back from this afternoon. I sent it to her Friday and she came back and said,
Okay. Well, we'll, okay these minutes at our February meeting. Then from that point on, that will be, okay. Oh, that's
next year
great.
we can do it December, January or whatever. So it's effective first of the year.
So we'll just add, so depending on what you guys vote, we'll add that to the minutes. That's great. And that'll be in your bylaws from now on, or that'll be a part of it from now on. That's right.
Yeah, that's okay with everybody.
Mhm.
It's easier way to do it than changing bylaws.
Okay. So we need a motion to accept the bylaws, is that correct?
No, we don't need to do anything with bylaws. Just
Excuse me.
accept what you're putting in the minutes, your
A motion to accept
terms.
of the length
Well,
of.
we need to, there's an election here, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're gonna have election of officers again. Oh, it's in the next item.
Yeah.
So 5, 6A and B together. And just add titles, officer titles off another column. Or someplace in there.
Okay. Well, yeah, the officers are in the bylaws. They're already in there for president, vice president, so on.
Right, and I'll do this for the chair, that. And to show the election of officers.
But I don't have that list in all my
It should be in the,
board packet.
should be in your,
Yeah, it's in your.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry.
So now do you want to move it down to election of officers? Okay. So in 6B, we have election of officers. Our current executive board is President's Ryland, Vice President's Jamie. I believe I'm the secretary, from what I've seen. And we don't have a treasurer per se, because we don't really have a budget. So that'd be a pretty sweet job at this point.
in the past. We didn't have a treasurer is just more of a fill the blank, per our bylaws, so.
So we can definitely have.
Last year was, the first year was, I think Dana was our treasurer.
I think the judge that's resigned was part of the board.
Yeah, Marcia Krieger.
She was
the treasurer.
yeah, treasurer or whatever, she took something on, and then,
And Dana took it over for a year. She was here for 2 years. And then Daniel replaced Dana as the city representative. So. And we trust you with the money.
I can be trusted with no money, yes.
Or for somebody else, it would be.
So it sounds like we're going
We
to,
have zero money,
you're
so
going to be elected as treasurer.
Okay.
Congratulations, David.
That's my title.
We got Daniel, president.
Or treasurer, either one. Daniel, if you move up to president.
Oh, no, he was saying
No, I think Daniel.
treasurer. Who do we want for
Yeah,
president?
president.
Oh, I thought he did that too with you, got you into the presidency. I think that's a good idea.
I don't know if he can be president because he's a city council
Oh.
member liaison, so that may be a.
Well, Ryland's been
Yeah,
president for the
he can
last.
continue though, can't he?
Finally, would you like to be president again?
I could do one more year.
Would anybody have objection with Ryland being president again?
Mm-mm.
Would anybody like to volunteer to be vice president?
I'll volunteer.
Big shoes. Jan, congratulations. Be a secretary. Salt my manhood, but I'll take it. So our 2026 executive board will be, president will be Ryland, vice president will be Jan, treasurer will be Daniel, and I'll be secretary. And you will complete your current term. From this point on, new members will serve 6-year terms. That sound good to everybody?
Mhm.
Because that'll be a part of the minutes, which would be rules will follow.
Do we want to stagger any of those if they get filled at the same exact time?
Well, that person will fill the,
They would fill in the
they'll continue the
remainder.
term.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Carl, for example, Carl's term is up next year because he filled in for that person. Yeah, so they do stagger.
Okay.
So we're good with, from this point on, new members, if they complete the term of the person they're taking over, and
Mhm.
if they want to stay on, they will have a 6-year term after that. So it staggers. And I'm not sure how do we motion that, Ryland? How do we say that in a motion?
So I make a motion, we approve the terms and office positions for 2026.
Sounds good.
And have that reflective table attached
Second.
in the meeting too.
Okay,
Then do you want to put down? Do you want to put in the minutes that Jan and,
Oh, yes, and list the officers.
yeah,
Yeah.
list the officers?
yep, I'll have that on there for the 2026 officers. Okay. Well, great. All right, any more questions on that?
Hopefully with Jamie, because we're bumping up against some missed meetings stuff too, I think.
Yeah.
We need to. I mean, those are all unavoidable circumstances of family members passing away. But
Yeah, she said she was traveling today, I believe.
hopefully that will be.
She's such a valuable resource.
Mm-hmm, yeah. That's good.
All right, we'll move on to 6C, stage of development for the Orinoco EDA. So open lots in Orinoco may be used for various stages of development, such as industry, commercial, residential, which I know you're all familiar with. The city of Orinoco has experienced significant development activity in the recent years. In response, the city has established, obviously, the EDA to support and guide future development efforts. The EDA is a 7-member board composed of city residents who oversee development proposals and evaluate their consistency with the city's comprehensive plan. What I'm looking at is how do we get the EDA to have more of a pull in what's being said with the city. So it's such things as development. One thing I will say, being the EDA director, I've been a part of more development meetings in 2 months in Orinoco than I have in my other communities in 2 or 3 years. I think you're very familiar with the fact that development is happening within the city. And with the EDA, we have an opportunity to be the people or be the driving force to help and take some of the information off the plate, not information, take some stuff off the plate of Jason and the city council. So what I mean by that is, we have several open lots attracted interest from private developers. Development corporations may present potential projects to the Economic Development Authority for consideration. So if somebody, for example, we've seen People's Energy Co-op. We had Marty Walsh come in, give that whole spiel to us. And from that point on, we can take that and we can kind of go through this list. And then we can say, yes, this is good and okay, or no, it's not good, and send it on to the city council. So what I've listed here is development process may include these steps. These are the steps that the EDA would go through, and feel free to say that we don't need that one, or we need to add this one or that one, or we need to kind of marinate on this for another month. And then I can type it up in a more professional setting. So we'd hear like a presentation of future development plans of the EDA. We'd have them come to the EDA meeting and you would hear what this developer would like to do. Discussion of potential financing, which may be tax increment such as a TIF or a tax abatement, which they may use. We can use Mike Bubani to help with that, as he works for the city. Receipt and review of bids, offers for the purchase of the land, the city-owned land, evaluation of consistency with the city's comprehensive and future land use plans. We want to make sure, you know, they fit in. We don't want somebody coming in and putting a brand new factory right in, was it River Park Drainage District, because that's a residential area. Let's see the agreement, if we need to be a part of that. Conduct of required public hearing, if that's something that we need to have as a public hearing. If accepted, forwarding the development proposal to the city council for final approval. Preparation adoption of resolution authorizing the sale of the land would be sent to the city council. Referral of proposed development to planning and zoning for review and recommendations. So we would see the possible development, and then we would send it to planning and zoning would make sure it fits all the setbacks and everything that would fit for that personal development. So I
That's
think,
also something engineering would see too then,
what's that?
city engineer would see that.
Yeah, he'd be a part of the planning and zoning. We would bring in the city engineer. He would more than likely be a part of one of the first meetings. Yeah,
Or either
'cause I know we had the city
engineering or
engineer.
planning services, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so this is all,
We have city engineering, we also have city planning services that
Yeah.
supports P and Z,
yep.
or they work together between engineering and service.
So we try to get all of them on the same page for like the initial meeting.
Yeah.
So we can knock that out at one time.
Okay, so for the presentation, very first bullet, is that taking place of what happens at City Hall with Jason and you, I'm assuming, and I don't know if anybody from Stantec or.
Yeah, usually it's the engineer and the city planner have been a part of those first
So
meetings.
that first bullet takes the place of that meeting. And so the meeting then,
We could, that first meeting, it'd be nice to bring it to the EDA to have that here and kind of get the EDA feel of it.
sure,
And a lot of times it's, there are people virtually on.
Mhm.
I suppose because of 5:30 in the evening, I don't know if that's gonna be good or bad for that meeting, but if that's the time, if they can't meet at that time, myself, Jason, I would put it out to you if you could be a part of the meeting. If we met at 2:30 on a Thursday,
Hmm.
and that could take place then. And then from that meeting, I could bring that information to the EDA, to our next meeting
Okay.
for approval.
I was just wondering if that's, because you had mentioned taking stuff off Jason and city staff's plate. If that then replaces the meetings that are the initial meetings that are already happening. Do those then just come here first?
Yeah,
And the very initial meeting is gonna take place here, and then I guess the second question is, are those meetings always okay to be public?
that's a good question. You mean, usually the first initial meeting that we have is, usually it's not public, but the public are welcome to it. It's not a closed door meeting.
Okay.
Once
They're
it
not
comes to the,
publicized
Right.
either.
it'll be publicized once we speak of it in the
Right.
EDA, yeah.
So it's, if it's a workshop,
That,
which is kind of what it is.
yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
the only thing that I'm getting at is if we're trying to take stuff off of staff plate.
Yeah.
I don't know that unless it fully comes here and then it's always okay to be public on YouTube that somebody's looking to come in here, right? So I can imagine that there are gonna be times where like they don't want to put their name out there right away, right?
Definitely.
And so then I don't necessarily want it to be well, in this case, we need to keep it at 2 o'clock, but for all these other cases, we're keeping it at 5:30 and we're putting it on YouTube. So I think it has to be standard, very standardized, no matter what. So
What if the first meeting we had would be like we've been doing? And then if they want to move forward, then they would obviously, they'd be okay with being public, then they would come to EDA.
yeah, and I wouldn't be opposed to that first meeting staying the way it is, but also becoming either a Zoom
Yeah.
presentable to the remaining EDA, because then we can at least be on board
Okay.
with it, or invited to physically attend, or keep it the way it is, because that's, I don't want somebody to come through and be like, well, EDA or council was super secret about this one thing coming through, and now we're just hearing about it. So
Yeah.
the process probably has to be uniform and the same regardless. And if it's open to public, an open door, then.
It might be a developer's preference too.
That's it, right, that's a very good point,
For him,
but I would
Or
hate,
them,
I would hate,
or her.
yeah, I would hate for them to be like, we don't really want to present at a public
Right.
meeting, we want to just spitball right now.
Exactly.
That's my only hesitation with that first meeting being here, like across the board, is uniformity for that meeting and probably the developer preference.
Yeah, the first meeting we have, which is not with the EDA, ones I've been to there, asking a lot of questions like, what will the city, and that's why Jason's always there.
Yeah,
City engineer's always there. And then they'll kind of get their ducks in a row. And from that point on.
Yeah.
They come up with a proposal and then we bring it to EDA.
okay, yeah,
So,
that
yeah.
makes more sense, because I would hate for like, also for us to have city contracted employees here
Yeah.
by the hour, and then we have additional questions that they don't really need to be
Right.
here to answer. I can see that where that can.
So like we'll use Jason's example. He'd be a part of the first meeting, but then he wouldn't have to. Cause he would know what's going on.
Right.
And so would the engineers.
Yeah, if Joe or Evan needed to be here for the second one, that's fine, but if not, they wouldn't,
Okay.
if they're gonna put their input in.
I think that's so much better.
I mean, and then that moves to bullet two is how often does tax incentives and abatements come into play in that first meeting?
So the one, we had three, we had one. Where it did.
Okay,
That's why I put that in. And that's just as a.
and I think that's a very appropriate thing for us to discuss here. But, and maybe not even broach the subject of it, if they bring it up in that first meeting, maybe we have to bring it to EDA.
Should we have the tax TIF? Cause that would have to go to council.
That would ultimately have to go.
Should we just keep that on council? Rather than, cause we as an EDA will discuss, you wanna get a 9-year TIF for that.
Correct.
So that one, so I can take that out. I'll go straight to council.
That's probably
I think it depends too if it's a residential or a commercial.
Yeah.
The TIF doesn't really go with commercial or with real estate, realtor.
that's true.
TIF is more of a business type thing if we're looking at it. And that's up to 9 years. Because we had some discussions at the council level with discussion about fire safety.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And a couple of the council members said, we don't want to do it. A couple of the council members said, well, it's something worth looking at, but maybe only 4 or 5 years. For various reasons. And so as it turns out, fire safety decided not to do anything. Because in my opinion, TIF is kind of there's a great, I was gonna mention this too, I wrote down, LMC, League of Minnesota Cities, has a chapter on financing developments. It's chapter 24. And I think it's good, it'd be good for everybody to see that. Covers a lot of information about financing. Not only TIF and tax, but also for infrastructure and land usage, land and park land dedications, and a whole bunch of stuff. I think it'd be good for everybody to see it. I can send you either send you the link to put in the minutes.
Sure.
I think it'd be good for everybody to see that. I came
Okay.
across that today on some other stuff I was looking at, so.
It's probably reasonable to keep the financial tools and tax stuff with council.
Yep.
I don't have I'm not opposed to keeping it here, but then inviting council to attend a workshop, turn it into a workshop instead of a meeting, I guess. I don't know how we would get around with open meeting law and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, we would just have to post it, but if that was something that had to be discussed, I don't see a problem with bringing council to EDA to discuss it prior to council meetings. Cause that's just gonna
It's
increase
very
the length.
subjective, subject, I think that we could spend a lot of time talking about it. And council says, cite something else, but
Yeah, that'll.
I do think there's a lot of other EDA recommendations that we can give to council.
Mhm.
And I think that's more appropriate for what EDA would do, whatever it might be. Depends on the project, I guess.
Yeah, like how it fits with the city's comprehensive plan and future land use, we'd recommend fits or not. Just overall agreement.
Yeah.
Purchase of the land, to accept the purchase or.
So then reviewing bids and offers, how do we go about researching that as a group? Is that something that it's a fair value? Like how do we go about?
You know, I figured we'd use, just we had Adam, but he's not anymore, and Carl are in real estate themselves. See some comparable, I would say, look at the comps, however, first, let's hypothetically say developer came in, wanted to buy the River Hills Park.
Sure.
And, we'd research with the help of real estate, how much to pay for whether it's
So
accepted or not.
would we have to go out and pay
I would think
to
that.
have some kind of survey done not survey, but.
These guys, I
Because
think
we
they just
are-
plug the information in, these realtors do, and they come up with the comps, and
So,
that's what
and
they'll loan money,
Yeah.
the banks will loan money for, and
for homes, that's fairly easy, but for land, empty land, that is where it kind of gets sticky because
Okay.
of the developmental costs associated with each individual unique piece of
property,
property.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
they have to do like an environmental study and.
Well, and that could be
But that'd
pushed
be-
on to a developer. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's the other thing is, but aren't we having a asset survey done with the city? So that piece,
For our facility buildings,
okay, so that's just the facility.
just the buildings.
Okay, I was under the impression that was gonna take place, that would include the city-owned lots and land as well, but
Yes. There's been talk of doing that,
okay,
but I think the money that we budgeted for was just to go through our facilities and do an assessment of our facilities.
okay, all right.
You can check with Jason or with
Sure.
Mel too, or Rachel.
That would be a question that I would have then as to how do we come up with the knowledge of knowing that the bid or whatever is a reasonable bid.
So sometimes when you talk about bare land, as you see around, the city has somebody, they come in with, they gotta do soil sample, in other words, depending on what they wanna build on that land.
Right.
And if they gotta move dirt and level land out, I think a lot of times they gotta come and have the soil come in. And part of that thing is they do soil samples to see how much rock is somewhere. What's all underneath of it. My question, I don't know about the city lot, but that's a big factor in what a price of a lot would run, because if you gotta do a lot of rock removal or whatever, then, because of foundation they're gonna put in, they say, well, a lot for us isn't worth that much because it's gonna take this much to do it. So I don't know how much the city has like that, but I just know when it comes to a lot of land, bare land, you see them all around town, doing soil samples and everything else, because they wanna know just exactly for the bidders that are gonna come in and bid their project, what's gonna cost her to excavate.
Yeah.
I think those soil borings would have to be, you know, in some ways seem like to be done by the developer,
Yeah, usually they have,
because they
Oh,
need to
yeah.
know how much
Yeah.
cost they're gonna put into excavations and everything else, so.
And then if we have to add that into a development agreement, then, you know, we can do that.
true.
Because I know like the condo project, you know, they did their own, engineering company did their own soil borings.
Yeah, I mean,
They didn't come to the city asking for funds for those.
yeah, I mean, that's the smartest thing to do, is because we can tell them there's no rocks in there.
Yeah, we can,
We don't have any rocks anywhere.
anywhere in Roanoke, we can hit
Trust
rocks.
us. There's no rocks.
There's sand down by the river, but
Yeah.
after that, you're on your own.
Yep, that's about it. So I think they have to do it themselves to cover their own bottom dollar. What kind of public hearings would we have here that wouldn't be more appropriate?
Well, that's public hearing for the EDA is if our name was on the land, if the open lots, if the city put all the open land into the EDA and somebody bought it, because you're selling public city land, you're required to have a public hearing.
Okay,
So we would have the public hearing during an EDA meeting.
okay,
Then you wouldn't have to have it during a city council meeting.
okay.
But it's city property, only the public hearing applies to.
Right.
And it would still be a recommendation to sell, or would be recommendation to council to approve the sale?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
everything that we
everything
do
is, yeah, council.
still recommendation.
Like
Right.
P and Z.
So is, yeah, and our recommendation, let's say to sell, would go to planning and zoning, whatever they're gonna do on that land. So then the council would get this, they'd say the EDA recommends to sell, blah, blah, blah. Planning and zoning recommends to sell.
Yeah.
Makes it easy for the city council, so kind of taking some work off their plate.
Give them more comprehensive information to
Yeah.
make a decision on too,
Yeah.
maybe.
So we wouldn't have to worry about what buildings are gonna put on, the size of the buildings and the height and that stuff. That would be the planning and zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're gonna put roads, and we would look at that, but that would go once again to planning and zoning.
Yeah, I don't have any real issues with any of the bullet points. I just have those questions to clarify
Oh, that's-
exactly what,
We'll take out the second, the financing tools, because
yeah.
that stuff's.
I don't think we have any business recommending TIF and tax stuff to council.
I don't.
I think that we could have a discussion with them here if we really think that it would be beneficial. I think that it would be a good idea to bring them in early and have the discussion of why it would benefit.
Yeah.
So that conversation can happen not on the city council 4-hour meetings
Yeah.
that we average, so.
They still,
They're getting shorter. I'm doing better. We're doing better. They're still long, but
So how about
but I do think that there's reasonable to talk about it here in certain circumstances, but I think if we do, we need to extend that invitation to potentially make it so that conversation's happening
mm-hmm.
here, not on the city council meeting.
So I'll update this, take that out, maybe like, for example, the question is how to come up with knowledge that it's a reasonable bid. Do we come up with additional help? Let me do a little research on it, and I'll bring back a revised copy at the next meeting.
And I would say that if, whoever said, Carl.
Yeah.
Is comfortable and he feels like he has knowledge or he can do that. I just don't wanna speak for him.
Sure.
Here,
Mhm.
not being here. But if that's something that he feels comfortable
And
doing.
Jamie too.
And Jamie. I mean, even if there's people we can reach out to in the community that are real estate and whatever, I mean, we can do that, but. Yeah, and then maybe if tax incentives or tools are requested, then maybe we have to move to a workshop, including council.
Yeah, and that's where we go to Mike Bonnie. He's the
Yeah,
guy who would run all those numbers and he would then bring that to the council meeting and he would, so that would be off our.
I mean, I think that if a developer says, hey, this is the benefits of us coming to you but we need this help, we can then say, well, we set up a workshop with council before the next council meeting or whatever.
Yep.
That way we can move that process along. We're not, waiting months for that.
Yeah, I keep looking through the list, I gotta just keep in mind, this is city-owned property.
Oh, okay, so there's like five lots, right?
1, 2, 3. The 2 up on the hill, and 1 in the front.
Okay.
It's 3 lots, and then of course this stuff here.
Yeah.
So it raises the question, is there,
The one in front, are you talking about next to the Alamo?
yes, yeah. Would we consider ever buying some land?
The city,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you can always consider that if you're interested in, the city's interested in buying a lot, yeah.
I can't think of anything right offhand, because we don't have any lots left. One-
Nice,
If they-
the city bought the house next to DG Market.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That may be considered after if they annex some land in the future.
Where's this at? What are you talking about?
Well, it was a lot that sold a few years ago, but
Oh.
it's the house that's right next to DG Market.
Oh,
It stores a
gotcha.
pontoon and a gopher, I think.
Yeah, the basement's kind of full of water.
yeah,
Slow
yeah, I know
buying.
where you're talking about, yeah.
Big fat gopher that lives on
I'm
that
not
bunch.
optimistic. He painted a little blue up
Yeah,
there a
it's-
couple of years ago and
Looked better than
a
now than
lawn
it
chair
did.
out front, but yeah, it's too bad.
It'd be nice sometime when the land across the street a little bit to the south, that open area. That, area. You think of the guy Jason Allen owns the property, farms it.
Mhm. Yeah, the Allen
If you were to
Acre,
buy-
yeah, the Allen Acre thing. Or the one by our house.
Yes,
Yeah, both. It's owned by the same person, so
okay,
yes, that would be a reason.
Yeah, so I'll tweak this and bring it to our February meeting.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions on that. All right, move on to 6D, so people's energy development. Now, unless you've heard differently, I know Marty was going to wait until the city finalized their new ordinances, so I don't know if he's represent on one or the other, but he had 2 different groups present their proposal for that lot at the People's Energy Development. They had a 5-acre lot right over by the, never know where we're talking about. So one was a DBS group out of Rochester. There was to put nice apartment buildings in that spot. And the other one was Judish, which were looking at apartments or townhomes, but those were both up in the air. I think Marty was kind of leaning towards Judish, from what I heard, but I'm not 100% sure. But we listened to those.
who's the other company?
DBS and Judish, it's on there. It's a father-son group. I believe they're out of Rochester.
Jeff.
So nothing has moved forward as of right now. Like I said, once the new ordinances are passed, I think then he'll,
Lot size is, just the whole code.
yeah, then our codes will go with it. But that's just to keep you as EDA in the know of what was going on. It was down to 2 different construction companies. Those are the new construction companies.
What's this little blurb about considering Dragon project?
Yeah,
Because, well, what I heard, considering the drag, what did I put that in there for?
That would, to me means there's 3 people. right?
No, the Dragon project, it was because, is the Dragon project supposed to be all like a bunch of townhomes,
Condos.
condos?
Yeah.
So it may lean towards apartments because there'll be so many condos in that Dragon development, if that's going to go through. I think that's why I put that in there.
CBS is working on the Duke Court property across one.
Yeah, and I got that on the next one here.
But I can give you an update on Dragon's project. So as far as I know, they've had a change. Dragon had an architect that he was using last summer, and that gentleman passed away. So he has a new architect. And I got this from Bill Torrington, the engineer, just before Christmas. So he's not changing anything on the preliminary plat besides the building, but they are looking at redesigning some of the floor plans, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna stay 14, 16 buildings, quads. And hopefully they'll be doing some work this spring starting, but that's still the plan. It's just kind of a slow process getting back going up again. The new architect.
Okay.
Don't have any dates or anything. They've had, of course, they have a preliminary plat's been approved. But I haven't heard anything about it. And the development agreement, I'm not sure where it's at. If it's been approved out or not.
Okay.
It's in, if it's not approved, it's in process.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that Dragon. But it's not 3, it's just 2 at this point.
Um, I also can give an update with Dukart property.
Yeah, here, let me, so 6E is a Ducart property.
Right. So I sent a note to Tammy when our last meeting with the Ducarts, there was a question about the access
Yeah.
off of 100th Street. And they have to work because the access that was there was a CUP, kind of a semi illegal driveway, but anyway, it's there. But now going forward, any new people have to go through the planning county behind service because, and so Tammy, the supervisor that handles the planning for the township, thought it was gonna be February, there was gonna be some discussion with the county planning department on approving that access.
Okay.
And so they make, and that's your next picture.
So we had a
So-
meeting with DBS, on the 2nd of December. And the Ducart family well, they've got that land that has that big equestrian barn.
yeah.
And they're looking to make that into a commercial park, and you can see the engineering, what it would look like. Their big issue, as you can see on the map or on the picture here, is that access of 100th, which Ryland just said, in the center of the property. That's what they're looking at right now with the county, so. And like we said, I wouldn't hear anything from February. Ron, is this in city land right now?
That's what I wondered, is it see,
No,
I think
it's not, it's
town
property right over here.
If they got approved, they were gonna look to possibly annex.
Yeah, it starts, starts right here and goes over to just about here. There's a 35 acres. There's a residential house here. No, I'm sorry. It's this house here. So this, it's an L shape for this property here. It comes over here. This is a lady that lives here on this property owns this, but so it's this property right here. So because of where it's at, it doesn't touch any of our city limits. Because this hasn't been annexed yet. And this is a township residence. He could purchase that. There was some discussion of possibly purchasing that and mining that, that's another possibility. So right now, if they get the access, they will probably still have to work with the county to get a sewer and water. There's a water well now and a sewer right there now. For this building, when he put it in originally, Mark Keen put the property in originally. Ducart spawned from Mark Keen, it was on the east side. From a utility standpoint, everything that was this lift station over lift station 4, which is right here. Where's it? Right here. Lift station 4, which is here. This lift station was designed big enough to go a quarter of a mile south of the border or south of the city limits. That would all drain. This is the Knife Valley that goes right through here. So it would drain to that lift station 4 and then goes into our sewer system. The water, if this was ever annexed, the water would loop through here. The water stops, goes across through here, but it doesn't come down to here.
So you say the white part is not annexed and they'd have to cross that.
Right, they have to, if we annexed it,
So how would you run your sewer and water to there?
what's that?
How would they run the sewer and water? Because that has to be on public property. They just
Well, they-
couldn't run the sewer across that piece of property if it's not annexed.
Yeah, they wouldn't do this until it's annexed.
Huh?
They put in their own sewer and their own water,
Until it's.
standalone.
Right, what I was gonna say is this property that you're talking about down beyond that would want sewer and water. How would they get their sewer and water there?
When this is annexed,
When it's annexed?
yeah, when it's annexed, and there'll be sewer utility coming in this area,
Okay.
there'll be.
So they can't really do anything until that other part is annexed.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, they can't annex this because you got too big of a space in between there that isn't annexed.
Too
Okay,
costly
that's-
and
That's what I thought. I was just,
so that's why it's a standalone. And we've explained it maybe, we don't know what the status of this 155 acres, when that's going to be annexed. It's obviously for sale, but we haven't heard any time frame for development.
Yeah.
And if, you know, even if a person comes in and annexes this first portion here, as long as it's across the street, then it's it potentially could be annexed.
So all that,
So it could be 5 years away, 4 years, it's,
so that Ducart commercial property is looking to go in the township then? Currently?
Yeah,
well, initially, yes, yeah.
and they just had a meeting with, Jason was there. Rylan, you were in the meeting, right? And, who was the,
Lynn Koenig
Yeah.
is the special projects person for the township.
Lynn knew what was going on. She was sharp. She knew her stuff. So it was. So, yeah, if there's anything more about it, I'll be sure to bring it in. Okay,
And just for information, I asked her about Linda King's property, if they've heard anything, and it's been crickets too from the township side, so. Because right now, you know, we have in September, the council approved a resolution giving her 6 months to sign the petition for annexation.
oh,
That goes up to March 25th, I think it is. And there's been no. She termed it, there's been no billing of attorneys on the township side, that they had some communications with the attorney for Linda King, so it's just quiet every place. And we have not heard anything either here.
all right. 6F, I wrote a grant. Well, I tried to write a grant for the city of Orinoco. It was called Southeast Minnesota Small Town Energy Efficiency and Conservation Planning Grant. So what this is the city is looking at how to save money and become more energy efficient with about everything you can think of. So every building within the city owns, you know, as an example, lighting and so on. So Kraus Anderson wrote a proposal for them, for the city. And then I wrote a $15,000 grant, which I just found out last week was denied. So it was all for nothing. That's what it was. But the fact that we wrote it, puts us in the running for if, so let's say a city of, I don't know, Byron got it, and then Byron doesn't want it. Then it's like the lady who lost, got second in Miss America, she's there. If Miss America can't go, we'll be there. So that'll be good. So yeah, I wrote that baby and yeah, I got denied.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it was. I thought we'll get that.
You ever heard of grants.com?
But I have not. Rants.com, it can't be that easy.
Grants.com. It's, and I get it every day. I delete it. So there were some grants I would start to look at, but I think you gotta pay like $40 a month to get to the next step if I know what those grants are.
Oh, really? Yeah, some of them are.
Can somebody tell me what they're building over by Casey's
Two, they're,
over here?
Well, the one is, Rochester Fire Extinguisher, the one building, I believe.
Is it
One's a
manufacturing or is it?
He sells, Rochester Fire Extinguisher or whatever, he sells fire extinguishers.
safety.
Trucks, fire truck, or
It's gonna
whatever,
be a
whatever.
fire truck.
Outfitting garage.
So like when you go to any car dealership, you go in to look at the car inside, you can go in and look at fire trucks.
Keokuk should have been up there.
I thought they were modifying, like somebody would go and buy a fire truck,
You can go there and you
give
can
it,
buy
give
it.
it to them,
Wow.
they outfit it, and then get it back to.
Is it a national organization?
It's out of Rochester.
But they send it, they get fire trucks nationally.
So like all of
Just
the
like media regional.
fire extinguishers, everything. So they have a showroom.
Yeah.
On the west side of Rochester, and then they have offices and they're putting it all together here.
Yeah, part
And
of it,
that's one
part of it
building
would
of the
be-
two?
No, that's.
so
the
that's
Barron
not even
line.
broke ground yet. One of the buildings that's up is flooring,
Junkie for ring.
and then
Yeah.
the other building is an electrical now. My understanding is electrical is
Maple Grove.
it's commercial only for,
That one I'm not sure.
I think you could, if you needed stuff, you could go in and buy stuff, but it's out, like it's geared towards
The-
somebody that's buying to outfit an entire
Yeah.
new building.
Gotcha, commercial,
But I think you can go in, like they'll have,
an outlet.
like for you to,
Yeah.
yeah, go get.
Huh,
And it's called LDM Electric,
okay.
and they're out of Maple Grove. You're putting in another store here.
It's a
The other
wholesale,
house. Huh?
a wholesale
Must
house.
be a lot of
Electrical
flooring and
wholesale.
junky.
Kind of, that's my
Like
understanding.
Viking Electric. Just
Yeah.
present.
Junkie owns the
That's
car
my
dealership.
understanding.
That's what my car.
Don't quote me on that, but I think
that
there'll be a showroom for, like, if you need a breaker or something like that, you
Yeah.
could probably go and get it.
Right.
Then the other part of the building is a communications firm, Stain Book Communications. They sell camera security systems, buildings,
Yeah.
houses,
You like custom alarm, Rochester.
kind of like the
Yeah, like
outside.
Yeah,
So there's two buildings that are up right now. Those are
Yeah.
probably what you're asking. for.
Yeah.
But then fire safety is gonna be that open lot directly across from Casey's, though. I think there's two lots there, or three lots.
Three.
when these places come in, do they talk about the number of employees or employment or anything like that?
I've never seen them advertise employment. Now, they haven't opened it either, so I don't know.
That was just always the big question in Keokuk. How many people is it gonna employ? Maybe they come with their own employees.
A lot of times if you say how many people you're going, jobs you're gonna add, you would get grants. But these haven't looked for grants, so I don't think.
Generally, we get that information if they were asking for TIF or they were asking for assistance, then that's where we would get the information.
Gotcha.
How many new jobs are you creating from this and this and that? But if they come in, and this is just my understanding, but if they come in and they meet the zoning requirements, that they'll get their permits and they can start building. And
And then we don't, have anything really to say about it or do about it. It's just interesting to me, because the focus before for me was always how many jobs is this gonna create?
Well, when C.H. Robinson came in 2016, they asked for a TIF, and the council gave it to them because they were having 5 to 7 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and they moved down here. They're based out of Eden Prairie, and they're the world's third largest forwarding company. So they have a database in outside Chicago and one in Eden Prairie, and they wanted a third one. So the city, they came to the TIF or came to us and said, we'd like to do a TIF, and we're looking at 5 to 7 employees with that we can pull out of the Rochester area because of the experience to run this data center,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. So, they built the plant and they started hiring, and first was 1, then 2, then 3, and I don't know if they ever got to 5. But a couple years later, they came back and said, okay, about this TIF, our whole strategy's changed. And so we're going to, have one person there, have 2 people there working 12-hour shifts.
Mm,
And that must have been about the 3rd or 4th year. And council decided not to do anything different with the TIF, that we didn't generate the jobs. And so because they
Interesting.
changed it, you know,
yeah.
we could have been, I guess we could have been hard nosed about it, but we were
Mhm.
saw
Good
this,
guys.
well, this is great for Orinoco. But what we
Interesting.
learned from that process, and it came out in the meeting with the fire safety, is that, and with the 9-year, back then we thought 9 years, and maybe it was the term for a TIF. But in the discussion with fire safety, they said, oh, no, you can, this is our financial planner says, no, you can do 4, you do less than 9. You can do
Mm,
4 or 5 years. for-
Everything's negotiable.
More negotiable. And so, and in that conversation, who was here from fire safety, they kind of picked up on, evidently they decided not to go through the TIF, so they purchased it before Christmas. And away we go, so
yeah.
I'm always amazed by Rochester, they do TIF districts just like popcorn, you know, but
Yeah.
they're a bigger city.
Right.
You
Oh, yes. So,
I don't know, city no taker just let it something, I don't know if we got.
know, otter, you know,
yeah, I'm gonna pull up my,
oh, we lost you.
one on the back. You just put it over and on top of that one. Click on this.
This one.
Yeah, all right. There you go. There you go, slideshow on the right. Click that baby. Here's your year in review for Orinoco EDA. So I got here in July. So I think I got most of the information from Rebecca. If you want to click. Just as a review. We have goals, our members, branding project, development, grants, general community development and other goals. Sorry. So here's the goals that I got for the Orinoco EDA to improve economic conditions of the city, aid in appropriate developments, and create a higher tax base and quality employment opportunities, which come all together. The mission of the Orinoco EDA is to promote, coordinate the development and expansion of these special areas of economic activity, included but not limited to industry, commerce, housing, and tourism, while maintaining a high quality of life for Orinoco area residents. Click it, maybe. Here's your current members, which you know, Carl is the only one that got perfect attendance last year, because he only had to come to one meeting. Yeah, overall, I know it's hard to get to these meetings, so thank you for hanging.
Ryland's at every one of them. He has perfect attendance.
Yeah, Ryland's setting the bar high.
Trophy,
He's got a traveling trophy.
is there a check with that too?
Yes, there is. We'll talk to Jason. Go ahead and hit her again. So our brand, probably the biggest thing, which is really amazing thing by the EDA, has been the branding project. January, an RFP was sent out to those various entities, Cracker Jack, Hook Promotions, and so on. In March, the EDA selected Tulip Tree out of Stewartville, Minnesota, to create the brand. It was funded by the EDA. There's a $5,000 donation, plus a $5,000 grant from Compeer and a $10,000 grant from Smith, both written by CETA. June, you had a special meeting. Organized representatives from the community to serve on the branding steering project, which I think Ryland was a big player in that. You can see all the different groups, Age Friendly, Parks and Rec, Student, VFW, Lions Club, Gold Rush, were all part of it. July was when I kind of came on. We had a virtual meeting with the committee and with Tulip Tree. There were 11 members present. We narrowed it down to 5 options. Go ahead and enter again. And this is kind of what we had originally with the different examples of a brand. Go ahead and enter again. In August, we had a meeting with 10 community members and 6 brands were reduced to 3. Provided examples from, I provided examples to you guys from area cities. And then in September, it was, the finals were kind of knocked down to the bridge and the tree. I think the tree's on the next one. Or there we go. October and December, citywide voting took place to finalize the brand. Voting virtual on city website as well as manually at City Hall. Posters were put, you can see the poster on the right there, distributed around the city. Option 1 was the winner. And as of now, Tulip Tree will add color with the tagline rooted in community, growing to tomorrow. And I'll bring that to Whitney so she sees that. The tagline, see what that, we can change it. Go ahead, enter again. You know, since I've been here, like I said, I've been a part of more developments in this small community than other places. This was this year's development that we were, that we got to see. So for example, 56 unit condo development that you're very familiar with. Majestic Homes came, talked about the River Park drain field development. That was their possible proposal at some point, keeping lots the same size and
So the picture you have there is for the 43 acres of Ari Colossus.
okay, is that that's not Dragon. Is that
No,
Dragon?
Dragon's across the street to
Okay.
the south.
So yeah, that was
Maybe you don't have a picture of that.
I don't have a picture. I think that was
Oh,
last
thank you.
year.
And just for information, Arlie Colas works for Hamilton. He sold that property now. And there's a new gentleman that from South Dakota that owns the property now.
Okay.
But we haven't talked to him. I got the impression he's probably waiting for the codes to be done.
Yeah.
So Ari's family, he has a family that's in real estate, and I think his family was really pushing for to do something, but it was codes. It started out with a plan, but it didn't go anywhere because the codes were in process. There was a lot of pushback from residents, and so that's when Ari decided not to move ahead with the new owner. I think maybe talk to Jason about it, but I don't know. I have not heard his plans, what he plans to do with it, develop it, when, how, we don't know anything.
So maybe in the future, go ahead again, Dave. Like I said, we just talked about today, the Duke Commercial Park is a possibility, which is not city limits, but let's be honest, if it does become a commercial park, it probably will be within the near future. The People's Energy Cooperative Development, that's a small strip of land, 5 acres, right by that. Marty Walsh came in, spoke to us about that. Grants written this year, there was an age-friendly grant for $77,000. Like I spoke about, the brand, Smith and Compeer, which the fact that the EDA funded that without any city dollars that's a pretty amazing thing. And then I just wrote this Southeast Minnesota Small Town Energy Efficiency Grant, which got denied. So it's just salt in the wound. Go ahead and move on. City local need for more partnerships and awareness of resources. The following organizations may aid in addressing affordable housing, infrastructure, economic development projects, and so on. CEDA, who I work for, is a big player in all of these, and we've upped our contract with CEDA, so that'll be great. But yeah, it's just a list there of organizational groups that can help, that we kind of partner ourselves with when needed. Not all the time, but when we need something. Whatever again. And what I look for to bring to the next meeting are just two goals that we could, as an EDA, that are attainable. You know, putting in a housing development is great, but is like attainable. So if you come, you know, like for example, in Zumbrota, their number one is daycare. helping out with daycare. And tell you the truth, in 3 years, it's in Brona, it's hard to, we can't create a daycare, you know? So if that's a possibility, continuing to work with, our businesses, maybe developing a business database could be one where we put it on the website, something attainable like that. It's pretty easy to say, hey, we did that.
Especially if you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it would be, I mean, is me, getting all the information and. Cause,
I think we kind of started doing that, didn't we? Our last gal was going around gathering information.
yep, and we're still doing,
So why not put that, in a database?
and we'll hopefully get it on the website itself, so like people come, visitors to the website can see what businesses. I don't think a lot of people realize the number of businesses that are in. Because unless you're selling an RV,
Right,
those are pretty prominent.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll have a little database, but yeah, if you think something, don't bring it to the next meeting and we'll discuss.
Couple of things, we asked 50,000 for our budget. And that went in, part of that was the contract for CETA for 1 day every week. And then we had our housing study for 9,000 to 12,000. And then the pedestrian and recreational trail planning, 5,000 to 10,000. So I don't know if we want to try and use those
We sure can.
goals, but what the money was originally planned for, that's why we put in the request. Budget request.
Yeah.
And the safe routes, that's a grant. To provide 45,000 services to conduct. Does everybody can send this out to? Make sure it's in front of everybody.
Is that from city council?
What's that?
That's from economic.
This is what we proposed to city council.
Okay,
It's kind of our wish list that we.
yeah, I
that-
think I got a copy of that.
What's that?
Created that summer, over the summer,
Yeah,
to present to council when we did the budget. Yeah.
So maybe we take the trail planning, for example, and make that a forefront of.
So the one thing the council did, and I want to confirm this and maybe use your memory here, but when we looked at the CIP, the 262,000, was it only 20,000 that we put towards trails? Or was it more than that?
I think a little bit additional went back in there,
That's why
but I don't
I
remember.
asked Mel today if I could get a hold of what was the final numbers that went into that CIP.
That'll be something that we'd have to work with Parks and Trails.
Yes, of course.
With right? Cause that's their CIP.
Right. It's their CIP, but it's just. It could fall into this, it
Yeah,
would complement what we're doing here too.
yeah. Yeah, it'd be a good point to work together on that one.
So in this, we talked about a grant possibly from, the housing study was potential, a grant from Compeer Financial. Well, we were gonna do an RFP, I should say, for a housing study.
Okay.
It could include inclusion of a vacant residential list, rental property analysis, and senior facilities needs and recommendations. And we can, of course,
So
complement what Dragon's doing.
I thought that do we still have the Comfear 5,000? Cause I'm pretty sure council approved 5,000 for the branding project.
I just saw the,
And then the Comfear, if that's,
Dragon did 5,000.
yeah, because
And the
the,
city did 5,000.
that's right,
the city did give 5,000.
yeah. And then
What was
the
Comfear?
$10,000 grant, and we were capped at 20. Cause I think.
Yes, we stopped at 20,
I
yeah.
think Tulip Tree was asking 18.6 or something like that, and we ended up getting 20, but it was the donation, $10,000 grant. City council did the remaining 5,000.
Compeer grant.
So I wonder if the Compeer grant is actually just, was it that for the housing study? Do we still have them?
Remember,
Have that. You were looking for the RFP for the housing study. So,
um, and this recreation was the safety. School Rouse was looking at working with Pine Island to to the city limits.
Right,
In both
yeah.
directions, so.
So safe routes to school,
Mm-hmm.
That
safe routes to school,
safe routes, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
You know, for 2026, what I'd like to see, we're 3 years into this. Into this EDA. That. We get a project, or we get something. To make us more legitimate, more of a really. Getting our few, I mean, what we've done here is we've done a brand new project. And we've done a survey in 3 years. And the city council at a point didn't want to cut the funding, didn't want to put a lot of money towards something. But what I still didn't understand was that at the time the EDA was created, the city council really thought that we needed EDA in Orinoco and really wanted to push to get EDA started and everything else, then they kind of
Backpedal.
just said,
Yeah.
I mean, they were all, we need it, we have to have it. We need volunteers to serve on this committee, what goes through the whole process, we do our bylaws, we do everything. And then they kind of cut the feet out underneath of us, which to this point, I still don't understand. There's a lot of politics and a lot of different things, but I think for us to keep coming and showing, I don't know if some people leave because of that reason of the EDA. They say there's just nothing going on. I spend time here, we chat, we go home. I guess I would like to see something in 26 to really have the city council. We have no budget, we have no money, you don't need a treasurer because you have nothing, but they want something. Well, you don't get nothing for, it costs money to do things, so. I just would hope that this year that whether it's some grant or whatever, we can really start to maybe look at some lots or maybe look at something and become something. Cause what I heard from her earlier, EDA, I've helped all these other communities start something, grow, that's why they're there. It's important. And I guess I just wanna feel that we're seen as a asset to the city of Orinoco, not just somebody that meets every
Mm-hmm.
last Tuesday of the month to say hi to everybody and kick a brand around. So that's just my thought process time is valuable for everybody, but to really to do something, not blaming anybody or anything, but I would just like to see us be able to do something to get a project. I thought the King project, when she come talk to us that time,
Mm-hmm.
the way she talked, you said tonight, it's pretty quiet. But I would say that come that night, I thought, boy, here, we're on a good start. They're talking about development of what she wants and everything else. That's a huge piece of property for the city. I would only hope that someone, if she doesn't want to do something with it, that someone would purchase it from her and do something with it. Because where the property lies right now, in my opinion, that is the hugest piece of property, the most prime real estate in Orinoco is that right up there. And if she's gonna sit on it and we're gonna watch corn come up and beans every other year. It's really not doing anything for the city of Orinoco, so someone should look at it and say, a reasonable price, what would it take to buy it from you to do something with it? That's just my thought is that, if you did that, I take a look across the street where you talked about the other thing, you start seeing development there. I think the town would light on fire, but you're gonna have to get something.
Well, I think we've demonstrated the commercial people that have come out here, I think it's good by Casey, so that's a step in the right direction. That wasn't here a year ago. So I think there's been a lot of changes, and I think that we're,
And your gas station up there, I have no idea where that's headed.
Yeah.
They got no
That's a
fuel,
private
they got nothing. I don't know which direction that. Cause as far as I knew, they owned the one on 37th Street too. It was the same,
they own 4 of them.
or whatever. And this one up here, they've got nothing there. I don't think they have any fuel because they've got their sign on, so. That's another piece of prime real estate that's going,
Yeah,
this kind of a boat anchor. And one other question, what is ever out here on the north side of town of that property out there does the reservation of the Indians of, down Red Wing still own that property or it never come through?
Oh, no, it's just, they still own it, and it takes
Little tab.
multiple years to get, the sovereign trust through the legislature, through the federal.
Okay, well, just, so they haven't got the trust, but someone said that someone else had bought it back from them. I said, I didn't know that. Okay.
No, it still belongs to the Prairie Island.
Okay.
It's just take years to take.
But this property right up here, as far as I mean, that right there, if that would take off for Orinoco,
Yep.
it'd be huge for
We'll find in March, but
everything.
one thing I
Cause
think.
what's March?
Which is their deadline.
25th.
Okay.
They had a
Their deadline to make her decision on what she's going to do.
And that's been something we've offered to her back in November 2024,
Mm,
but she just refuses to sign it for. Wants the city to do a whole bunch of work, and we don't do that, it's not legal, we can't do it. But she just is stubborn.
Is that something we could help, the EDA could help her do anything to move that property?
No, we're not
I
gonna,
don't know that you even wanna get involved with it.
Okay, I didn't know, I just,
we're not talking to her. She can talk to us when she's ready, but
okay, well, that's, I don't know some of that stuff, that's what I was just
yeah,
wondering.
no, it's in her ballpark. Rebecca put together this 2025 action plan. You may want to take a look at that too, or everybody can.
Mhm.
Just to get ideas of what we were looking at, some of these things we did do and some of the things we haven't done, but they're all part of this study and trails. And I think one option ought to be that we continue to talk to businesses, or from your perspective, continuing that interaction.
That's what we said, and putting it together in a database for, then on the website, the information.
Yeah, you can have a little support local tab on the website. Have
Yeah.
a list of everybody that's here in town that offers services.
Yeah,
Well, so we'll bring those to the next meeting. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Sounds good. If you'd like, I could send this 2025 action plan out to,
I've got it,
you got it?
yeah. So I can, yeah, you can send it out to members if you want.
No, I thought you'd
These are the
good
same,
with the minutes.
these are the same bylaw we have, because I have an
Wanna put it
original
in
copy
the
of
minutes?
Yeah.
That's my plan.
I got them too. I wrote on that, so no, I'll hang on to this. I don't need to. All right.
We just got about.
Good.
All right, well, thanks.
Well, I'm gonna put a plug out there on the website, our local community for a member. See what happens.
Yeah. Aye. All those in favor of?
What's that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey.